Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Improper Mimi. It is I, your host, Mimi Jax, and I am so glad to be back here with everybody. I hope you guys are excited as I am for our guest today. I'm going to let her introduce herself. So, Asha, take it away.
So it's Asha, but that's okay.
Aisha, there we go.
It's
And you know that
okay.
usually that's the first thing I ask before I start. I was like, how do you say your name? But okay, boom. So,
No, it's
Aisha,
okay.
take it
It's all
away.
right. I mean, you said it the way it looks, so it's fine. So
Uh,
yeah, I'm Asha
yeah.
Mae, and
Hmm.
I am a mother, wife, singer, songwriter, jewelry maker, and so many. Oh, our full time. Well, I'm sorry. I used to be a full time RVer. Now we've things have taken a turn and we're
Oh,
part-time. So
okay.
after traveling for 4 years, being on the road, we've
Hmm.
decided to get a home base.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And what does that mean for you guys? Like what kind of change does that mean to your lifestyle of deciding and having a home base?
It was a tough decision, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
We all really enjoy the freedom that comes along with RVing.
Yeah.
So stationary life was not something like a decision that we went into really lightly. We
Mm-hmm.
sort of are just kind of following where the universe guides us. And
Right.
it guided us to Phoenix, Arizona, one of the
Mm.
most unlikely places. I never thought that I was going to be choosing this place. In fact, I didn't even like it. Um,
Uh-huh.
so, I mean, I liked it to visit, but I didn't like staying here. But
Yeah.
so many opportunities have opened up. We've made so many connections with people that
Oh
we've just
yeah.
we decided it was wise to make this our home base. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but we still plan on traveling every month, maybe spending
Oh,
1 or 2 weeks out and then 2 weeks in.
yeah, yeah. So kind
Yeah,
of like a hybrid, like even how people are turning to
exactly.
office life, hybrid.
Exactly. Because
Yeah.
I make earrings now. And that wasn't
Mm-hmm.
something that I did prior to getting into RV life. I started
Right.
doing that when we were stationary in Phoenix because I had surgery. And
Mm-hmm.
then once we got into this, I was like, ain't no way I'm gonna be baking up no earrings in the RV. No way. No way. I have a friend that's done it, but I was like, there's
Uh-huh.
not enough room.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not buying another RV. And that's that. If you were to look
Yeah.
around usually this counter back here is completely covered in earrings. I have a table over here that's completely covered in earrings. There's no room in the RV
You're
for
right.
all of that. So
Oh my
we
goodness.
yeah. So we were just like, you know what? I can come back here once a
Mm-hmm.
month, and just
Stock up to it.
and then hit the road and do whatever it is that we want to do.
Yeah. Well, that's a big decision. Congrats. Congratulations to the whole family.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, our
Yeah.
son, he's done so well. He's 11 years
Right.
old. And for an 11-year-old, essentially an only child, because I have an older son as well,
Oh.
but there's such a huge
Hmm.
age gap between the two. Um,
Yeah.
for him to be on the road for that long
Hmm.
without any siblings or anything, he did
Yeah.
great. He's a very personable person and meets people along the way, but it was like, okay, he's making friends
Yeah.
here. The homeschool community is really large here. We see a certain
Okay.
need here. So
Hmm.
let's just stick around.
Because some families, they don't even make it past 1 year of like RV lifestyle, and you guys did it for 4 years. So that is also like a big, that's a big accomplishment too.
I think, and it really wasn't a matter of we're tired of this. Let's go back.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Hmm.
literally because we had so many opportunities that opened up.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
otherwise we would have been right back in the RV. We had
Right.
plans to come here for me to have surgery, and then as soon as we were done, get out of
You're
here.
gonna be out.
Yeah, we were going to be out. But, God had other
Uh-huh.
plans for us. So, we're here. And the thing about the lifestyle that we live is that there's a lot of room in there for flexibility. So let's just say
That's
we
beautiful.
decided a year from now, Phoenix isn't really the place. Let's go
Mm-hmm.
over here. We could do that. Or let's jump back in the RV and just hit the road. We could do that
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Because I think that was one thing that I thought was so like interesting and empowering too, is that you really control kind of like where you go, when you go, like when you're living in that lifestyle. Like, is there anything you're going to miss about it of being full time?
The flexibility financially. So
Mm, mm-hmm.
before, um, we made a decision about where we were going to be from month to month. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
you were to fall on hard, or we were to fall on hard times. Luckily we didn't really have that happen during that time, but we could turn
Yeah.
around and say, you know what? We're out of here. We can't stay at this
Mm-hmm.
park anymore. We can't afford it. We don't have to worry about our credit
Yeah.
being ruined. We don't have to worry about
Mm-hmm.
paying any fees to back out of a lease. We don't have to worry about getting rid of our things. It's literally unplug and
Yeah.
deuces.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally what it came. That's what it came down to. It's like, all right, we're out of here,
Yeah.
and we've done that.
Yeah.
Not, like I said, not because of
Uh-huh.
finances, but because we just said, you know what, let's go here for a while. We'll tell them we're leaving at the end of the month, and that's the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you, signing up for this year lease here for
Ooh.
me was like,
Sounds like
oh, that's a
complicated.
commitment. I was like, that's a commitment. I don't know if I want that commitment. What if 6 months in I'm ready to go? Like that's
Yeah.
what you get used to, not having to worry about things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my
I
goodness.
mean, we did
I
some
know. And
vending in
people,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
oh no, go ahead. Yeah.
I would say we
Yeah.
did some vending, going to finances. Of course we have this
Mm-hmm.
apartment here, but we went to do some vending in California, thinking that
Yeah.
we would do well in California, but it turns out that we didn't do as well as in California as we do
Mm.
in Phoenix.
Yes.
So,
Wow.
because we didn't make what we thought we were going to make, we spent a great
Mm-hmm.
deal of money in gas going back and forth. Um,
Right.
there were places where we paid vendor fees and really didn't make very much money, if any money at all. You know what we said?
Mm.
We're going to sleep in this Lowe's parking lot.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly, or we're going to, there's a nice dog park in the city that we were staying in. And we stayed
Mm-hmm.
outside of the dog park on the street. Very safe
Yeah.
area. I didn't feel threatened at all. My husband's there. He's security. Our dog is there. He's security. It was fine, but we had we because of the flexibility, we have all the comforts of our home. It is our home. It was our home
Right.
for so long. We have our kitchen, we cooked our meals, we have our bathroom, we have our bedrooms, we have everything that we need. So it became, all
Mm-hmm.
right, do we want to spend this $40 to $100 a night on
Mm-hmm.
a space, or do we want to just sort of park out in the parking lot for a little while? And we were able to
Right.
do that. Whereas if we didn't have the RV, it would have been
Mm-hmm.
a major loss because we would have been paying to stay in hotels. All of that
Right.
really does
Mm-hmm.
add up. So, you know,
Yeah. And I don't think that people realize the cost, associated, or even the different costs associated with living in an RV. Because you
oh,
may just think, oh, it's you just pick up and go, but you still have what, like propane and park fees, like you mentioned. Like some people might not even think about that. Be like, what? We got to pay park fees?
you have so many fees. I mean, we really lucked up because when we got our RV, it was
Hmm.
before the pandemic. And
Okay, before that
while
mad dash of everybody wanting one.
exactly
Yeah.
everybody running out and getting them. So
Hmm.
now, at one point, RVs depreciated just like cars did as soon as you drive them off the lot. But because of
Yeah.
the demand, our RV actually has appreciated in value, which is
Mm.
really nice. But
Oh
if you
man.
have people who, let's say, just purchased after the pandemic, and they get the
Yeah.
fancy fifth wheel, those are the ones that you pull behind and attach. We have a
Okay.
motorized RV. But let's say you got that fifth
Mm-hmm.
wheel. A lot of times people think, oh, okay, I'm going to get this fifth wheel. It's so nice. You don't think about non sexy things like towing capacity. You don't think
Mm.
about,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's all terrain or this or that. So a lot of times people don't even realize that after you have the cost of getting that RV, you need to get yourself
Yeah.
a $70,000 truck to pull it.
To pull it.
To
Right.
pull
Oh.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
have friends who pay $700 a month for their truck payment in addition
Oh.
to their payment on their RV. And then depending on where you are around this country, yes, it can be inexpensive, but let's say you're staying in California where we've stayed for 13 months,
Yeah.
but let's say you're staying in California and it costs $2,400 a month for you to park your RV. And like you said, that's not even including propane. That's not even
Yeah.
including any type of maintenance costs.
Maintenance, right?
All those
Shoot.
things. We had an issue where our hot water tank went. That those
Mm.
things you can't just get them replaced immediately. So a
Yeah.
lot of times people think, oh, I remember when I was telling my employer, oh, I'm staying in an RV now, and he said, oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, what?
But it's okay. And he kept on referring to,
Uh-huh.
and there's nothing wrong with this, but he kept referring to,
Mm-hmm.
the RV as the trailer and the trailer park
Right.
and, this and that, which, like I said, again, nothing wrong with that. But
Yeah.
I think what he associated that with was like low cost. We're staying at, like, no, honey, like this thing can cost
Right.
you 3-4 G's a month. Don't think that these
Right.
people in these RVs are not spending some serious bank, especially when you have
Yeah.
a nice one, like, a really recent model. It
Yeah. Oh,
costs. And then not to mention the
right.
fact
Yeah.
that gas, when we first started on the East Coast, because we purchased ours in Virginia, it cost us
Uh-huh.
$87 to fill up the tank. On the West Coast, now, 4 years later, it costs
Mm-hmm.
us $250 to fill up the tank.
That's crazy. That's almost three and a half times as much.
Girl.
That's, that's exactly those. And here I am, like, I don't even have a car in New York, but when I did have a car, when I did drive in New York, I was always thinking about other costs, insurance, parking tickets was one of my budgeted things because I just knew
You,
I was
yeah.
going to get a parking ticket all the time because there's nowhere to park. I'm just going to leave it right here, catch me if you can kind of thing. But yeah, there's like all these costs associated with it. So when people talk about, I haven't even really seen any, like shows that talk about like, van life or living, off the grid or anything like that. But my friends talk about it. And I was like, that's so interesting, because I used to, I mean, my family would camp, when we were kids. We grew up in Ohio. So that was,
Okay.
something that we were,
Mhm.
kind of used to. But I could, I don't know. I guess ever since I've been on the East Coast, like Boston, New York, I don't. I think I've been to a campground maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
Probably supervising some Girl Scouts and then just hanging out with friends. Like from a ski lodge, or we're just like hanging out
Mhm.
like in a cabin or something. So it's like I love to see these different things that Black families are doing, and um, it it's just like exciting to see that, okay, there's different people out here doing different things, meeting different people. And I don't know if you felt the same way. I mean, you guys, must have loved it because, it was your decision, and you were able to do it for quite a while. Yeah.
No, definitely. I know when we first got into it, it was my idea. My husband will say it was
Hmm.
my idea. He wasn't even thinking about that. Um, But we were a little nervous in the beginning. But, I don't believe
Hmm.
in allowing fear to hold you back from anything.
Right,
But
right.
we were a bit fearful of what could happen
Hmm.
because you hear so many stories, just real quick, I remember one time when we were rolling through Mobile, Alabama, and I literally called family and was like, if you don't hear from me, we were
Hmm.
in Mobile and I had ideas like we about to be strung up from some
Oh
like
gosh.
I really thought that. Like I was
Like
worried.
watching Lovecraft Country, like we can't go these roads at night.
We really thought that that's how it was going to be. But then when we
Yeah.
got there, that was not our experience at all. We actually had a
Oh,
very positive experience when we stayed there.
good.
It's not
Yeah.
necessarily someplace I would live just because I like to be in a larger
Hmm.
city, but we had a really positive experience. So I think that was the
Right.
biggest thing when we were first getting into it. It was like, oh, it's scary, like we don't know. You hear so many horrible things on the news, and they happen. But
Hmm.
I find that of all the people we had many more positive encounters with people than we had negative.
Good.
And
That's
honestly,
awesome.
when I say negative, we really haven't had any. The most, if anything, maybe an annoyance. That's the worst. There's
Mm-hmm.
somebody coming up to me and just saying,
That's
"I
good.
believe all lives matter." Well, that's what's up. Good.
I'm
Feel
like,
how you want
thank
to feel.
you.
I really don't care. I didn't ask you about what your thoughts were, and I wasn't interested in them anyway. So, that's
Yeah.
literally the worst thing that's ever happened.
Oh,
Everything else
that's
has been
comforting to
positive.
know.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is because and we
Yeah.
were expecting the worst, and
Yeah.
knock on
And
wood,
yeah,
we haven't seen the worst.
that's good. I mean, because that's how I would envision, like, same as you, like, what's gonna happen is gonna happen. God will protect me. He'll like get everybody back who
Hmm.
like does me wrong and everything. So I don't have a fear of, I
Right.
wouldn't let my fear like hold me back
Hold
from
you
doing
back.
something.
Mhm.
Sometimes I just like suck it up and jump in. But I, I remember my dad rode his bicycle from Gary, Indiana to Boston, Massachusetts.
Mhm.
And I was afraid. I was like, well, where are you going to sleep? You're going to just sleep on the side of the road? Like, he's like, oh, there's fire stations, there's, churches, people, help each other. And I'm like, how do you know this? But like you say, like he had way more positive experiences because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, black man out on the country roads of the
On a
United
bike.
States coming across, right? I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, maybe we should drive behind him. And they're like, he's going to be fine. I'm like, okay, all right. And I'm like, okay. But oh, good. I mean, because, yeah, you would think with as much that happens in the media and as much as going on all over the country that you might run into more trouble than you have. So that's
Mhm.
really good to hear. It's been such a great experience and not too much like serious, issues or anything like that. So
Mhm.
I love it. I love it. I might have to, give it a try myself, starting off small, like a week or two.
Right? No, let's not go too far.
Right. I'm not going to even pretend like lifestyle is a real thing and I'm thinking vacation. So I know there's a lot that goes into it, and I barely want to plan a vacation. I
Right.
went hiking with my daughter, and she was like, "I don't think you prepared for this at all." She's like, "I was like, what? You just show up, you follow the map. What's the worst that could happen?" And it was getting late, it was getting dark, and we were like, "Oh, we got to get out of here."
Right?
So there's a lot that you have to plan to go into any of this type of stuff.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh my goodness.
I know when
Oh.
we just real quick when we boondocked in two places, Ansberega Desert. It's the desert, it's BLM
Mm,
land. That's Bureau of
mhm,
Land Management, where you can stay for free. It's just
mhm.
just
Oh.
government land, but there's nothing there. So don't expect any lights, don't expect any running water, don't expect anything like that. You're just there. And then another
Yeah.
time when we stayed near Joshua Tree in California, um,
Mm-hmm.
again on BLM land. And I don't know if you remember like the old movie Blair Witch Project. I've
Oh
never
yeah.
watched the movie,
Oof.
but I just remember seeing
Mm-hmm.
the seeing the previews and
Oh
everything.
yeah,
And
me
that's
too.
literally how it
Mm-hmm.
was. It was just us pulling out into the darkness, like pulling into in the middle of the desert. Again, I was
Uh-huh.
thinking, oh, they're gonna bury our bodies out here and
Oh,
take the RV. But but my
right.
husband's out there with the flashlight, serious face, like not even happy, just like, oh, where we going? Whatever.
Ooh.
But
Yeah.
we made it.
Uh,
We made it, and
yeah.
it was one of those things though where we didn't plan for that. We didn't know what to expect. Um,
Right.
yeah, it was it was funny.
Oh my goodness. Now these are definitely memories your son is not going to forget.
Not gonna forget. Or sorry, last one. With the one
Uh-huh.
time when we our RV actually broke down. It wasn't broke down, but it was overheating, so we couldn't go any
Uh-huh.
further because we could damage the engine, and it was
Oh.
on a weekend, on a Sunday actually specifically, so we couldn't see a mechanic right away. So we
Oh.
pulled into a parking lot in Northern California, well, close to near Northern California,
Yeah.
and parked, and we're sleeping. My son is in the bedroom with me. My husband's in the living room on security duty,
Mhm.
And this guy comes up to the window and says, "Got any crystal meth?"
What? No, sir, we do not.
But he's like, "Got any crystal?" Like right in the door, like, and it's like 12 o'clock at night. We're in bed.
Oh
It's like it's so quiet,
no.
and we're just like, "What? Where are we? What is going on?"
Like that is not a
Oh,
cup of sugar. You don't just go around asking any old little neighbor.
but my husband, he had
Oh,
to get hood real quick because he said, "No, we ain't got no crystal." Like his whole tone, everything. "No, we ain't got no crystal meth." And then the guy, I think he was more scared than what. So he left, he went away. But
that's
he,
right. Shoot, get out of here. Oh no. Oh my goodness. That sounds, just adventurous, like
yes. And those are
stories
just
for
a
days.
handful of the stories. Because, like you said, stories for days. It's like,
Oh my gosh. Uh, a lot of times on the podcast, I'll talk about, like the villages we have, like,
Mhm.
women and our relationships, either with other women or just even different circles like of support.
Mhm.
And so now as you're transitioning from mobile life to stationary, like, do you have that village or how are you envisioning, having that support system around you in this new city? Kind of new city.
Kind of new city. I definitely I've made a lot of connections with people, and I do
Mhm.
find that we're um, getting to be a part of that village, a part of that community. I'm feeling a sense of
Mhm.
community that I haven't felt in the last 4 years.
Mhm.
I have met a lot of women, and honestly, the thing that's helped me the most with meeting people, and the reason why I decided that I liked it here, was because I was
Yeah.
vending so much. So I made
Okay.
a lot of contacts and met a lot of people through vending.
Mhm.
That now it's like we're texting, like, "Hey, or someone's like, "Oh, you want to come out and perform here?" Because I'm a music artist too. So like, "You want to come out and perform here?" And we're like,
Yes.
"Well, we don't have a sitter." That's what happens when you go someplace and you don't have family. And they're like, "Well,
Mhm.
I know this person who has this service." And it's like, "Oh, wow, we can do things like this again." So
Yeah.
it's been nice to connect with people, specifically
Yeah.
women, on
Mhm.
that. And we're always trying to be politically correct here, but Black women, we're
It
going to be
is
specific.
improper, Mimi. So
I
you
know,
don't
I'm so
have
used to
to.
having it. I'm trying
You can
to,
say whatever you want to say.
but but no, it's nice to be able to connect with Black women,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you come from a place like the East Coast. You know, I come from Philly.
Yeah.
I met you in Phoenix. You probably
Yeah.
saw not too many
Yeah.
sprinkles, just a little sprinkle of pepper here and there. It's not a whole lot of
Exactly.
pepper. You know, um, I come from a city where it's 45% Black.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm
It
used
is
to
regular.
seeing
Yeah.
it's like it's nothing, you know, it's like, oh, I see my
Mhm.
people everywhere, you know. When
Yeah.
you go from that to coming to the
Mhm.
West Coast, where in most places you're only making up anywhere from 6 to 9% of the population.
True.
And not only that, if can I be blunt?
Absolutely.
Okay. The mentality, and I don't want to
Mm.
offend people because I don't want to offend my people here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a very different culture here than it is on
Yeah.
the East Coast. Take like natural hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's something that's starting to be embraced, where that's something that was embraced in a place like New
Long
York
time
or
ago.
Philly for a while.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
there's less of a need to assimilate into a
Mm.
culture that's not necessarily ours when you're in a place like a Philadelphia or a New York. You know, like when you're there you
Right.
can do that, but here I've found that, especially with people who have been here for a long time, as opposed to people who just recently, you know, the influx of people moving over here from these other cities like a Chicago, a Philly, a New York, you
Yeah.
know, like Detroit, those places. But the people who have been here for a while, there's not really a lot of community, and
Mm. Mm-hmm.
there's not really um an embrace of you. Like I might see somebody, you know, at the supermarket and
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh, you know, a fellow, you know, sister. So I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not even like, hey, because you know, I'm just like,
Yeah.
hello, and I smile, and they're like avoiding eye contact with me. Or maybe
Wow.
even
Yeah.
giving me the stank face, like I don't want to be associated with you, because
Mm-hmm.
there's that
Mm-hmm.
need to not, I guess, to fit in with everybody else.
Yeah. And
And
so
so
they're so
that was
used to
something.
that.
Yeah,
Mm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
get it. It's survival, right? So I'm
Right.
sure that
Mm-hmm.
what a place like Phoenix, you know, looked like in the 1980s is very different than what it's like now. So, you know, I get it. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably that's what people had to do in order to have
Mm-hmm.
employment, in order to have it, you know, any type of success and things like that. They probably feel like that's what they had to do. So I understand, and
Right.
I'm not passing any judgment or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. But like I said, coming from a place like the East Coast and then coming over
Mm-hmm.
here was a major culture shock
That's a
for
culture
us.
shock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a
Yeah.
culture shock. It's funny. I
Mm-hmm.
have an older son. He's 25,
Yeah.
and when he came here, you know, we would say, "Oh, it's black people over here, black people over there." He said, everything with y'all is about race." He said, "Oh, y'all are racist." He said, "Everything about you with you all is race, 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 race." So anyway, he stayed
Uh-huh.
with us for about 6 months, and he was working. He got a job. And
Mm-hmm.
after a while, it was like, oh, this black person over here, this, or this black person over there, that, because he got to see what it was like. I said, you know, in Philadelphia, or even when we lived in Florida, we lived in South Florida, near
Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale. You know, we're there, but here you don't see that. Or, you know, like I said,
Right.
you have that camaraderie, that sameness, that oneness with people. Whereas here, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times the natives reject that. So for him, he was like, oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they acted funny, you know. But I've met some really great people.
Yeah. And
All
it's
that
often
being
the
said,
people that make a big difference.
yeah, it really does, you know. And like
Uh-huh.
me, you know, with the hair, I walk around with all the audacity in the
Yeah.
world. You know, it's like, I'm gonna be this is, you know, but
Yeah.
you know, but it is what it is, and you have to sort of meet people where they are, and
Right.
you know, in my opinion, exhibit some type of empathy to understand that, you know, everybody's not going to be at the same place that you're
Mm-hmm.
at that time. Maybe later on they'll come and
Right.
meet you. Maybe they'll never meet you at all. Maybe they'll meet you next
Yeah.
lifetime. That's their thing. It's their business, their issue, not ours. So part of the reason why
Right.
we decided that we wanted to stick around here was because we saw a huge need for community, especially with the homeschool community for Black
Mm.
people.
Oh, interesting.
So,
Yeah.
because our son has his own business, he's 11 years old and he's got this business, The Cool Homeschooler. So,
Uh-huh.
a lot of times people come to us and like to discuss homeschooling. A lot of
Mm.
times we have Black people to come to us and they want to discuss homeschooling. They might, maybe they're in it already. Maybe they have questions. They're afraid of getting involved in the different homeschool co-ops and everything because they don't really
Mm-hmm.
see children that look like theirs. So we're really
Right.
interested in starting something like that so that
Yeah.
our people know that there's a space for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is interesting because you're right. There's not a lot, or that I see, that I
Mhm.
know of a lot of like Black families that do homeschooling,
Mhm.
or that there's a network or, resources out there readily available for a lot of people. So, everything that empowers, I constantly am saying empowering Black women, and I say at home, work, and play because we wear so many different hats, whether it's at home, taking care of the family, taking care of, the home, and, literally like, just setting everything up and making things run smoothly for the family. Or, at work where there may be lots of expectations on you and you're trying to hold it together. And, sometimes imposter syndrome may come in, or mental health or something like that.
Woo!
So there's like, right, exactly. And then we cannot forget the play, so the play is just as important. And whether it's improper play, or whether it's book club play, or whether it's just sitting down and doing nothing, and that is enjoyable to you, these are all different parts of our lives that um, it does help to have that community. It does help to have someone to talk to about it, to remind us to take time for ourselves, to give ourselves grace, to forgive whatever it is that we did. Maybe we were working too much and we weren't home enough, or maybe we were just so focused on home and didn't, help take care of other things. Um, but yeah, that's really commendable of recognizing the need for that community. And I'm just excited for you guys because I mean, like, that's lots of information we can share with people too. Even your son's business, the homeschooling, community, the beautiful jewelry that we're wearing. Okay. And then when you may be performing and singing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, there's just so
There's a
many.
lot. I'm almost thinking to
Yeah.
myself like, oh my God, how like what don't I do? This is crazy. This is
Uh-huh.
crazy. But
Yeah.
it's this lifestyle has allowed me to
Mm.
reimagine what life looks like or what it looked like, and
Yeah.
to learn that I can create the life that I want. I don't have to
Hmm.
follow a playbook.
Right.
And
Hmm.
just like with the whole, RVing thing, I can pivot at any moment, and that's
Yeah.
okay. The plan changes. That's the way it
Hmm.
is. We only get one shot at life, so might as well just live it.
Live
A
it
lot of
and
times we
enjoy
don't
it.
do it, enjoy it,
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Seriously. So many people, I see so many people who don't enjoy it. And that's heartbreaking to me.
Right.
And it's
Yeah. Because
hard.
we're
Like
only
like
here
you said,
for a,
you're
yeah.
only here for a short time. And it's not to say that it's
Hmm.
easy. It's hard.
Hmm.
Like all those things that you discuss, you just said, you know, uh, with the imposter syndrome and the whole, I had
Yeah.
to go through this whole period. It was like, who am I? What is going on? I've been trying to fit into this box for
Yeah.
30, 40 years of being who everybody else says I'm supposed to
Hmm.
be.
Hmm.
Wait a minute, who who am I? Who am I?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who I
Right.
am, and I had to really, do I really like this? Do I like,
Hmm.
do I like this, or do I like this because everybody tells me I'm supposed to like this? You
Right.
know,
Like this is what people expect of you. Like exactly, who is to say what is proper and what is improper? Like there's so many rules that society makes, and yes, we are here for a limited amount of time, so let's be free, be safe, be educated, know what's going on around us,
yeah, definitely.
because like you say, when your husband went out there with that flashlight, I was like, yeah, we need to do some surveillance and make sure we know what's going on around us, then we can relax and be carefree.
Right, right.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, I had a really good time chatting today. I just want to, well, is there anything else that you'd like to ask or share with people before we get ready to shut it?
No, I
Before
feel
we
like
get
we
ready to
just
shut it. I'm
scratched
sorry.
the.
Before we get ready to end for today.
It's okay. No, I feel like we just scratched the surface because I had such a great time talking to
Yeah.
you. But no, there's just I don't really have too much more. Just really, just choose you live the life you want to live. And we as
Hmm.
black women, I'm sorry, we are the bomb. Okay. I'm gonna give us our flowers right now.
There you
I
go. There
mean,
you go.
we do everything.
Hmm.
So if we can do everything for everybody else,
That's
we
right.
can do everything for us.
There you go. That's right. And don't feel guilty about it either. It's okay to do stuff for ourselves. Yes.
You deserve it. You deserve it.
Yeah.
Seriously, I had an issue with that for so long. Where
Hmm.
I just, we're taught we're supposed to be selfless,
Hmm.
humble. And I am
Hmm.
still. I try to be humble. So I even
Yeah.
have trouble with promoting myself or with giving myself the credit that I deserve. Really, because
Right.
we're just taught to dim that light a little. You don't want to
Hmm.
impose, you don't want anybody else to feel any kind of way. So, just do your thing quietly over here. And,
Yeah.
but we can't. We deserve so much more. We give
Yeah.
so much. We deserve
Exactly.
so much more.
Don't feel bad about stepping up on that little pedestal and patting yourself on the back, because yeah, you have done this. You have achieved the things you have done. And it's so funny that people will say, that oh, I don't really do anything, I don't know what to talk about, or and I say, I used to think the same thing, about being a single mom, raising my daughter, going to school, working, and then doing volunteer things for other organizations, and then starting a podcast and everything, and I'm like, no, wait a minute, actually I'm
That was a
good at
lot.
what I do.
You literally
Right.
just went down the like, but I did this, but I don't got nothing to talk about. I don't have any.
Nothing to
like,
talk about. It's just a regular day. You just got to do what you got to do by any means necessary. I don't want to step on anybody else's toes. But no, there is plenty of room for all of us. All
right.
of us can shine,
Absolutely.
and it's not just shining, but helping each other. So
Absolutely.
I just love it. It all comes back. And I am going to give you that platform to promote yourself. So how can people find you? Like, what is the best way to get in touch with you if someone is looking for, you know, all kind of things?
I am everywhere. I am literally on all platforms under so
Hmm.
many different names. On, on Instagram, you can find me for my music, Asha
Hmm.
underscore May underscore sings. Um,
Hmm.
for my jewelry, you can find me at Asha underscore May underscore Clays. Um, I am actually launching my website for my
Okay.
jewelry in a few weeks. So I'll
Hmm.
have my very first launch. And
Nice.
I'm really excited about that. Just really I've been doing a lot of connecting with the community and vending over the last
Mm.
5 months or so. Now we're about to take this thing online in addition
Oh,
to
wow.
that, and
Yeah.
really just get that online presence. And it's exciting. As far as the
Yeah.
music, I am currently working on an EP,
Ooh, look
halfway done.
at
Actually, I take that back.
that.
We are now 66% of the way done. So
Beautiful.
I just have
Yeah.
a few songs to finish up, and that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be released in a few months. You feel free to
Okay.
go to ashamay.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you can get any updates on my music as well as download all of my previously released music for free.
Yeah.
Um, and that's about it. I mean, like I said, I'm all over. My music can be found on every platform, iTunes, Spotify, everywhere. That's about my son. Sorry, his business.
That's right. We're going to have his business too.
He's the cool homeschooler, so he's on
Uh-huh.
online, thecoolhomeschooler.com, and also
Hmm.
um, on Instagram at the cool homeschooler.
Oh,
Um,
beautiful.
there's a lot going on. We're a family that stays very, very, very busy. I'm a mama that stays very, very, very busy.
That's
There is a
right.
YouTube channel as well, Asha Mae. That's pretty
Cool.
simple, ASHA May. Um,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, I'm out here. If you
Yeah.
Google me, that's one thing I can say. I'm Googleable now. So
That's right. Go on the interwebs and you can find
right,
HMA.
you gonna find me. I'm Googleable. So
Uh-huh.
I'm out here. Definitely out here, and I have some really
Oh,
big
good.
things planned for later this year.
Yeah. Well, you guys heard it. I mean, definitely follow Asha May. Make sure that you keep in touch. Find her on ashamay.com so you can keep in touch and know those things that are going to be going on throughout the year. And Asha May, it was so great chatting with you. I'm so glad we met. We met in Phoenix, like you said, and everyone can see. Well, when if they're watching the YouTube video, then they can see our beautiful jewelry that you made, which kind of just really drew us together, and then the conversation just going from there. So
Yes, it was
thank
so
you so
wonderful
much.
meeting you. So
Yeah.
great. Just and that's the thing, getting out there in the community, being out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've met more people in the last 5 months than I have in the last 4 years. So
Oh, that must
it's
feel great.
amazing and wonderful
Yeah.
people too. So
Yeah.
this has really been an awesome opportunity. I have enjoyed myself immensely. Um,
Yay.
and I just wish you all the success in the world on this platform of
Oh,
yours.
thank you so much. And right back at you. I know you continue to do great things. So best of luck in everything.
Thank you.
Thank you. And everyone, you know that you could find Improper Mimi anywhere that you listen to your podcast. So Apple, Spotify, all the good stuff. So you can just go ahead. Feel free to share this episode with anyone who you think will be interested. And we will be in touch again for the next episode. Ciao.